What we're doing today is replacing an oil level sensor. And by the way, that's what brand new oil looks like. That's what slightly used oil looks like. So that's our brand new oil. I'm going to be moving a little bit of that oil over here because I have to lower the oil level down below where the oil sensor sticks into the vat. And then what we have to do is I have to gut all of these electronics in order to get the oil sensor, because it's right about straight back behind this little tiny control board. First thing we're going to do is pull all the wires off our interface board, and then we are going to disconnect a few wires on our component box, and then a couple little bolts and whatnot, and that component box is supposed to just slide right out forward, and then we can get to our oil sensor. So let's get after it. Long sleeve shirt. There's our interface board. Make sure you don't lose this. So I got my perimeter bolts taken out, and I'm just sort of feeling out, trying to figure out how this component box comes loose. It feels loose, but I believe these little nuts way back here, I thought they just held the ignition key or the ignition box to the component box, but I think the component boxes are secured elsewhere. Alright, got the little 9mm nuts taken off, dropped my ignition control and this ATO board, I think it's called, down. I removed this Molex connector from the board in the back, this one as well. And I'm just gonna slowly try to wiggle this component box forward and see what happens. So I had to disconnect a couple Molex connectors, a couple wires, taking pictures along the way so I remember where all of these go. Worst case scenario, guys, I have the same exact wiring and everything right over here, so normally I would recommend taking pictures, drawing diagrams, the whole 9 yards, but in this case I'm going to just pull this one down just to verify all my wiring. It's exactly the same as this one in case I forget something. So where is our oil sensor? Right here. This right there, that's the oil sensor we gotta change out. This is basically like the Aeon unit of fryers. Overly engineered, overly complicated for no reason. Anyways, enough complaining. Let's get this wiring pulled out. The wiring for our oil sensor, and then we'll get it changed out. This right here is our oil sensor. Now, a couple of these wires go down to our control box. I cut them just so I can remember where the ends go. The new one, here's our new one, has all the color-coded spade ends, so I know where they went. Just easier to cut them, and then I can just swap them out when I get the new one installed. You're probably wondering what's in this ball. I am also wondering that. In the manual, it simply says that there are extra electronic components in this. So of course, when I'm done, I'm going to take it apart and see what's inside there. So inside this oil sensor, there's a heating element and a thermistor, I believe, something that senses the temperature. And heating element inside this heats up, and if there's oil in the vat, that oil will dissipate the heat, and this will not be able to reach whatever set point that it needs to see at the control board. If there's no oil, this will be able to heat up and it will reach its internal set point, and that's how it knows that there's no oil. It seems overly complicated to me, but I'm not an engineer, so what do I know? Here's the fun part. Get the plant some oil. Try not to drop your phone. You won't like it if you do, I tell you what. Well, that was exciting. Right there on the right hand side, my right, that is our oil sensor. That is our temperature probe. Now we go down here and we can take our 7/8 crow's foot socket, get it on there and start turning. Most of the time they'll fight you because they've been hot and covered in grease for so long, so I'm gonna have to get two hands on this. But once you break it free, you can just kind of use your hand most of the time. When I put these back in, I like to use a little bit of plumber's tape, just I don't know, a once around, just to keep any oil off of those threads while it's in there. And the problem with these oil sensors is that they were not able to recognize the oil anymore, and we would try to clean them, they would just get dirty. What I've noticed what happens with these is over the years, after you clean them with scratch pads, they build up oil really easy. They get dirty really fast. So after a while, you just got to replace them. Tip of the day, a little easier to hold your control box down, just throw some zip ties around it so it's not flopping all over the place. New sensor's prepped. Again, just put a thin layer of plumber's tape along the threads here. That just, in my opinion, keeps any grease out of the threads. Not necessarily because I'm afraid grease is going to leak through it, only because I want that little tiny layer to prevent the threads from really sticking into the grease. Basically, if I come back and replace it, or whoever comes back and replaces this in the next couple of years, it'll help them out, make it a little bit easier. Alright, we got it started. I'm going to have to get two hands on this, as I have to grab that, spin the whole assembly as I spin that in by hand, and then we will start the super fun process of trying to rewire all this stuff. Flags go through the back. Weights. This. As I do empty terminals, because it's going to be much harder to try to fish a wire through once I get this back I had to stop the recording there to get this component box in place because I wanted to swear really, really loud and I didn't want to offend you guys. So I got the component box back in place, got the control interface board all wired in. I went through, just double checked all my wiring, compared it to that side. Everything looks correct. I am going to put the oil back in and I'm going to fire this side up and make sure that this works before I even begin doing the same process on the other ones. Now, again, this is my first time replacing one of these sensors, and it took me about an hour and a half. And a few things I'm going to do differently is, first thing I'm going to do on this next one is I'm going to pull the speaker out. That just makes it a little bit easier to reach some of the components. I'm also going to watch how I orientate. I'm also going to watch how I install this, because if you install it this way in the machine, you don't have enough room or don't have enough slack in your wiring to reach some of your control boards. So I had to flip it around inside, and that was kind of difficult. So watch how you position this. That'll save you 10 minutes. And then I may try to zip tie some of the wiring together just to keep it from flopping around, getting in my way, causing me a little bit of issue. Some of you keen-eyed viewers might notice this wire sitting here. I'm not sure what it's for. I believe it's for some sort of added option on these units, but they all have it. See? It's going to go through its little startup sequence. Now we don't have the filter pan in. We'll just hit confirm. This little light should kick on, and then our inducer will come on. And you can see right back there we have fire. And it does that. This is the melt cycle. So it'll do that on and off and on and off and on and off every 5 seconds. Keep watching. It'll fire back up here in a second. Maybe 3. So I'm going to watch it do this until I see a significant heat rise, or a significant temperature rise, rather. And so far I know our oil sensor is working, because obviously if it wasn't, then it wouldn't heat at all, because it's a safety device. Looks like we are all set. Circuit board. Let's see, this is really hard to do one-handed. Let's check out a wiring diagram. Let's see if a wiring diagram says anything about this. Sitting here in my office looking at this. Let's focus in right here, see if you guys can see that. This is our little egg-shaped device, which is this. So these red and yellow wires, that is to our thermocouple, and this little control board is our fixed set point temp control. Incoming power goes through here, of course. This black wire and white wire, these go out to the time delay relay board. That's these 2 wires right here. And then this yellow bundle, of course, that goes out to the actual oil sensor itself, to the heater. Somewhat simple. Looked rather confusing, and I didn't get a good enough explanation, so crack it open and see what's inside. Anyways, guys, hope you got something out of this video. Thanks for watching. Do appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me if you do like it. And, share it with a friend who likes fryer stuff. Take it easy, guys. We'll talk to you on the next one.